Hi, I'm Riley Harvey for V-Cycling News, and this is Tempestuous Tempelhof. It is the weekly Thursday night PRT handicap race organised by Wiltshire, and tonight it's taking part on the real road of Tempelhof, which is a former airfield over in Germany. It's now used for racing of all manner. There's a big fixie race that happens there, usually annually. Obviously everything's been a bit messed up this year in the last few, called the 8-bar crit, and this is the track that they use. Normally for the handicap races we use something with a little bit of elevation in it. We've normally got something that's got a bit of up in it in order to activate the handicap and level the playing field for all the riders. Tonight what we're hoping will work is that the auto braking that happens around the corners will slow down those bigger riders that have got the bigger engines and also the weight penalty, and they'll have to try and accelerate out of those corners, and the lighter riders who are benefiting in the other way from the handicap, they become lighter, they'll be able to accelerate faster and they'll be able to get away from those corners and they'll be able to take the advantage and take the lead. So we're hoping that's what's going to work out tonight in this race. Very likely it will. Will's pretty good at planning these things. The auto braking is a feature that's I think is only available in RGT. On corners, you're braked into the corner to more realistic speeds. So if you're bombing it down 1-2, hitting the hairpins, you're not going through at 60 to 100 kilometers per hour. You're doing what you would in real life. You're pulling on the anchors, it's braking you, and that's what happens on the corners in RGT. You go into the corner, get braked, your power levels go red, so you'll see your wattage going red in the corner, and you'll slow down. Coming out of the corner, you apex the corner, you want to hit the power on the way out. So if you've got a direct drive turbo trainer, something with a decent sized flywheel, you can ease off on that corner, you can take a little break, and then you can push on the way out. What I have found myself, if you're using a wheel-on turbo trainer, because of the way the wheel-on turbo trainers work, because the amount of friction that there is there, you find that they're a little bit quicker to slow down and they're a little bit harder to get moving. So you might find on a wheel-on trainer, through the corners, you might just want to keep a little power on there, keep it moving a little bit. With the direct drive trainers and a lot of the newer bikes that we've got, like the kick bike, the Stages bike, you can totally ease off because they've got massive flywheels on them. They keep the momentum on there, keep the inertia, much more like real life than the little wheel-on turbo trainers do, which tend not to have those bigger flywheels in them. Yes, that's what we're doing tonight. We've got the handicap race. For those who aren't aware of it, how it works, we try and level the playing field. We try and bring everyone's power down to an average 3.2 watt per kilogram. In order to do this, the way that it's achieved is you take a recent FTP, you divide your FTP by 3.2, and that will give you your weight, which you put in game on this event. So if you've got a really high FTP, you're going to expect to get heavier. If you've got a low FTP, you'll get lighter. And as I say, normally it's usually a hilly course, because watts per kilogram tends to only affect you on the ups and downs. If you're just going on the flat, then raw watts is what really counts, and it does affect you, but it's not as relevant. Your weight, it's not the biggest factor. The other factors there are your CDA and stuff like that, which everything gets a little bit complicated then. But the easier one to work with is your weight, and it affects you on the hills. The heavier you are going up, the slower you'll go, and you'll go faster on the way down. But usually what happens then is you're on the way down, one of the lighter riders spots you, they cling onto your back wheel, they get the draft on the way down, and then when you get to the next hill, they go off like a rocket and you're stuck there at the bottom. I know that happens to me quite frequently. Not that I've got a massive FTP, but I do have quite a massive belly. So I've got the other weight penalty there. We'll head over to the start line and we'll have a look at what's going on down there and see who we've got in the race. I know we were talking earlier on in the chat about who is likely to win this race, and the quick money early on was on Steve, who's in this race. But we will see how that goes, see whether he's going to be pushing out solid watts again today, whether he's had a hard week at work and he's feeling tired. Got 56 seconds left until this race kicks off, and you can expect it to kick off with a very electric start tonight. We've got a lot of strong, powerful riders on this grid, and they're going to be going for it. Great guns at this early part here, because they're going to know that these corners are going to slow them down, and that's the attacking point for the lighter riders. So they're going to push hard as early as they can to try and get these riders shifted. So PRT is the Precision Race Team, which is the team that Will Usher runs and Will Usher puts on these events. They were kind of a training ride for the athletes, but they've turned into something of a fixture in the RGT world, with a lot of people taking part and a lot of people enjoying them. Because of the way that this handicapping works, Shrek giving away to the camera, because of the way this handicapping works, there is the opportunity for a lot of these riders to get near and compete with the elite riders that they wouldn't normally be doing. So just with Barry Wilson there, position 19th. We're going to have a lot of complications here as well, because I think at some point we're going to end up with some lapping of the riders, so you have to forgive me if I start losing track of everybody. But black and yellow kit there, that's the Precision Race Team kit. As I was saying, it's Will's team. They compete in triathlons all over the place, and Will is a fantastic coach, well worth getting in touch with if you're looking to improve your triathlon cycling game. Just came through one of the new banners there that signifies the start of the segment. Segments are now indicated down on the bottom of the profile. You can see on the bottom of the screen there. Profile on this is extremely flat. I think in total we're looking at about 5 meters of elevation in the entirety of this race. It was an airfield, so it is pretty flat. You can see there number 26, Steve Shrubsall. Let's see whether Steve, who was one of the early riders, dubbed to have got, oh there we go, some lapping going on there I think now. Or is that just some of the riders getting back into the group? Yeah, Steve was dubbed as one of the early riders of a chance on this race. As Barry pushes on there, gets himself back up to 29th position. We'll move up to the front of the race. You see Wayne's there. Murtaugh is a new rider for myself. Pike. We've got Bancross in this. Chris Bancross in the orange there. Fantastic rider. Shrek up there, he's got a fantastic engine on him as well, big powerhouse. And Ollie Perkins back in 10th position there. We were just on the camera there with Barry. Ollie is his grandson, so it's nice for them that they don't live together. They compete virtually every week as well. Ollie, I'm not sure, I think he's just turning 14. Looks like he's going to be a strong prospect if he keeps his cycling up. He's got a good engine on him already. Will Deegan in that front group there. Will Deegan's one of our strong riders as well. I expect tonight, with the type of course that we've got, it'll be down with Will Deegan, Shrek, and I think Wayne. We're with Pike on the camera at the moment. He's putting out 356 watts there. Just underneath the riders' names, they've got power bars that show how much power they're putting out effectively. It's not the power, but it's the relationship of the power they're doing compared to their FTP. So as the numbers are going deeper red, see Will's putting out a bright red there. That means he's going deep over his FTP. You can see there's a split happening between Will Deegan there and the front group. And he's just trying to get himself back into that. The auto braking and the pausing just into the corner there, you saw
We'll just stop him briefly there as he come around the corner and just misjudged his power briefly. Shrek takes up the front of this group now and tries to bridge across to the leading riders. You have to forgive my camera work for tonight. It's such a fast circuit, it's difficult to keep everything in view. And as we head round this hairpin, I think that might be Darren Ray that stood there. I'm not sure if he's had a technical. Bancroft is in the lead. He's got a strong group in the front there with him. We'll just shimmy up to that front group. We've got Redpath. That's a new rider to the handicap race. I've not come across him before. Bancroft, McIntyre, Murtaugh, Ben. I'm not sure if that's Ben Lowe there. And we've got Deegan. Ben Lowe is a great rider. The last few weeks he's had really good positions in the handicap race, but he's had connection problems. Hoping that the change over to the one app system is going to help Ben out, because he'll have less connections to worry about, less systems to worry about. He's not worrying about the computer, the phone, everything all interconnecting. I did say I'm going to keep an eye on Facebook tonight, so if anybody wants to send a message through, I am checking the Facebook messengers, so if you send a message through, I'll give you a shout out online. Look forward to hearing any questions that you have, any information that you want me to give, just give me a shout. Ben in second place there, Redpath and Palmer. Palmer and the Spanish flag there. I think he's another new rider to the PRT handicap races. A tight group up at the front here. Will Deegan looking like he's going to bridge across at any moment though. Looking like he's going to get there, and then all of a sudden that gap opens back up again. Anything over about 10 metres on RGT and you're not receiving any drafting benefit. We're already 5 kilometres into this race. It's going to be a fast one tonight. Here's one for the powerhouses. And looking like Deegan's dropped now. Deegan's got a 40-metre gap back on this group. Pike still in contention. Pike's only 10 metres behind. He's fighting hard to try and latch back onto this group. See him there, and he's nearly made it now. As soon as he's got within that 10-metre gap, he started enjoying a little bit of the draft. See the Redpath there, putting in the power, moving up through the group. The splits happen very quickly on this course. You come around a corner, you're auto braked, and then on the way out somebody attacks, somebody follows that wheel, and they're gone. Well, I'm not seeing much of Will. We'll have a flick back through the group now. See which riders are out on the course. Got Pike there, Barker moved up into 8th position, Steve Shrubsall, and with Darren Ray there. Darren's putting in a good performance. I did say I'd give him some screen time tonight, so there you are, Darren. Good to see you. Not having a wave to the camera tonight. Keep concentrating on that group. Don't get dropped. And we've got Will Deegan in this group. O'Grady. We've got Andrew. I think that's Andrew Jones. Just back from injury not so long ago. He's looking like he's on a good return to form now. Tegan, Schweisen, Fasolotti. No, David Brookhausen there is further back than I'd expected. It's Tom Smith, the rider, that's had an outage there, and he's grouped up with Ollie Perkins. They had a fantastic battle the other week on the road up to Cap Formentor, toe to toe. Looks like we're in for another good battle from these two riders tonight. There might be Matt Adams further back there. I think that's Neil Walker and Simon the Fish. With Lou PRT there and Ian Hurst. That's Lou Gelling. Lou is a fantastic rider. She's one of the ride leaders for PRT, and she loves hills. Well, I say she loves hills. Don't know if she loves hills, but she is fantastic up hills. If you're on a hilly race with Lou, you need to watch her wheel and you need to make sure that you follow it, because she flies up the hills. We've got Katie Warren back in this group as well. Some of the PRT girls keeping together there. There is a PRT Discord channel if you're looking to join in any of these races. The Discord channel's advertised on all of the ride links. It's fantastic to hear that you're not suffering on your own. You can also have a chat with the riders on the road, and you can make a little agreement that you're going to work together. Or you can just hear the swearing and panting that goes on. Got Ursula there as well. Villarreal. There's Barry Wilson signed that group. Katie Warren. Killingbeck, Clements. Greasley. Oh, you know, a big group here. It's mainly the bots in this group now. Just flip back through that. I can see D Grant in there. He's getting some good drafting there from those bots. S. Elliott. And then we've got a further group in here. Just drop back to Bev Usher. Got Bev. Rob Mellowish. And we just had Robin Drew up there as well, but camera skipped by him. So go flying back up to the front of the race now and see how that's going. We've got Ben there just coming up on some back markers now. Murta, Elliott. Now this is an interesting part of the race. We've got a massive group of back markers here. Now you've got to be careful coming through the back markers to make sure that you apply power, plenty of power to get through these back markers. If you're not applying enough power, the algorithm and RGT will think that you're trying to sit in on those riders and will drop you behind one of the riders, and you can get auto braked behind one of those lapping riders, which is awful. You've got to make sure that you apply plenty of power to blast through that pack and avoid that auto braking effect and just sitting in on those riders. See Ben there navigating his way through. It's Ben, Bancross, Redpath, Murtaugh. Seeing a rider there just trying to grab onto the back of that group so that you don't get pulled out of the race if you get lapped in RGT. It's potentially a feature that's going to be looked at, but at the moment you get to continue racing, unless of course you're doing an elimination race. If you're doing an elimination race, which again I think RGT is the only platform that does elimination races, once you are lapped you're pulled out. But if it's just a stand-up crit race, it's expected that you will not interfere with the race as it's happening. You will just allow the riders to ride through and not have any effect on that. Come through, that was Nickel, number 77, who's jumped onto that group. He's seen the chance to get in that group and have the draft saving some of these faster riders and potentially pick himself up some places on the rest of the field. Go around that tight hairpin. Just see there, if you look as we're going into these corners, you can see the power readings in the top left hand corner of the screen turn red. And power readings, you put out the same exact amount of power, but when they go red, it's showing that it's wasted power. It's effectively you're putting in more power than you need to maintain your position. So seeing and understanding that power reading and knowing what to do when it goes red can be quite important, because you can continue putting power in when it goes red, but it won't make a difference to your speed on the screen. So it can be important just to anchor back slightly and save those few pedal strokes for moving forward in the race. You see, we've got tight grouping now. Murtaugh, Bancroft, Ben, McIntyre and Palmer. Steve Shrubsall has managed to get himself with Guy Hepner to the front of the chasing group behind. They are 150 metres behind, but they're two phenomenally strong riders, those two, and working together I think they might have a chance of closing this gap down. So we're going to have a drop back to the Guy Hepner and Shrubsall group there. I don't know if anybody else spotted them. I don't think I've seen Will Usher. He was, as far as I'm aware, scheduled to ride tonight. See someone flying off the front of that group. That's Pike. So Pike was in the lead group earlier on, and he's just made a sprint off the front of this group to close down. I think he's possibly seen that rider in orange in front of him and thought he was part of the lead group there. He's trying to bridge across. This is part of the problem with the lapped riders. You're not entirely sure who you're chasing down. So I think that might be what's happened to Pike there, because as soon as he got up near to that rider, he just eased off. So you see Shrubsall, Hepner and Woots is there, and Schweisen all working together. Pike now is just trying to recover his place in that group, get up to a group of 5. You can see on the road markings there how it's been. Still got the road markings from when it was used as the airport. Was once the biggest airport in the world, biggest commercial airport in the world, Tempelhof. Closed its doors in, I think, 1982. If you have a look back on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook channel, I did a talk through of the Tempelhof circuit, a little bit about its history and about how the corners and everything affects you. If you're really bored one day and you want to find out about the circuit, have a check back through there. There's loads of other interesting videos on the YouTube as well. We've also done a first look video for the new RGT One App platform. I don't know if anyone is aware of it, but RGT has moved over to a One App system now. You still can use your mobile phone for control. It's called the remote app now, but you've probably noticed some buttons flashing up on the screen whenever I remove the mouse. Now you have the option of just using a screen device, which can be a computer or any number of the better quality tablets, and you don't have to use the second app, the phone, like you used to with RGT. It's just all controllable through that one app, which has made things a lot easier for some people. As I was saying earlier on, Ben was having a bit of a problem with communication between his devices. He was getting dropouts. Quite often it can be Wi-Fi signals, but you can have Bluetooth problems as well if you're using Bluetooth earphones and things like that. So simplifying it to the one app, only having to worry about Wi-Fi connection to one device. I think he's still up in that front group, so I'm hoping that's worked for him. I'm presuming number 5, B Ben, is Ben Lowe. I have to guess sometimes with the name, and you can be individual with your name on RGT. You don't have to use your set name. See Steve there, he's just pushing on. He's I don't think he's riding too hard here, but just keeps opening up little gaps on the group. There we go, Schweisen seeing Adams driving through there. Adams is much further down the field, but Schweisen seeing the opportunity to get a draft off Adams there, and he's run up there. He's used his draft to open up a gap on the group. I don't think that's what Schweisen is trying to do. I don't think he wants to drop Shrubsall and Hepner, but he's seen that as an opportunity to gain distance on the group in front of him. They've all moved forward there. So we'll have a jump forward to the front group again. So Palmer, none of these riders are looking to get themselves dropped here. Got McIntyre, Redpath, Murtaugh, Ben, Bancroft and Palmer all grouped together. We come up on another back marker group here. We've got Sozka. I think that looks like 3 live riders there. It's Robin Druitt I'm not sure who else the other rider is there. Oh, it's Ollie Perkins. He's not as far back as those other riders. You can see Ollie there looking at the draft of these fast riders in front of him, and he's jumping on that. He was having a little battle with David Broekhuizen, and David looks like he's a bit further up. I just saw a rider in an orange top a little bit further on in the group there. The orange top that we've got in our group now is Bancras. A little bit further down the road you can see another orange top, and that is, I think that'll be David Broekhuizen. Forgive the pronunciation, David. There he is. Yeah, just gone around that hairpin, he's on the other side. Ollie's been dropped by him. He's just sitting in on this group now, trying to maintain the draft. So as I was saying before, Ollie's only a young rider. I think he's around about 14 years of age, but he's got high FTP, so he's already carrying quite a lot of weight for this race. But he loves the challenge, and he's back every week battling away. And to be in position 24 in this level of a field is a good position to be. You can see when he's using that drafting advantage, he's able to stay with this front group of very powerful riders. I think that's Simon the Fish there as well. He's sticking on. He's in position 73. Very easy to get dropped back into a position that doesn't really indicate your talents on one of these races with the rapid changes in pace. Also quite easy to have a little bit of a technical drop a chain, etc., and get dropped that way. So this grouping at the front seeming to be quite tight. While they're sticking it out, we'll have a drop back through the groups. See Sveizen and Shrubsel there. They're just breaking away a little bit from the group that they had. They're 190 meters behind Palmer and Ben's group there. I doubt that they're going to make that distance up. Steve just decided to go on his own now. He's still got 9.4 kilometers left to go. Not thinking he's going to make the distance up to the group in front, and it is a long way to go without any company in this race. It could be a very lonely and very painful individual time trial to the end of this race now for Steve. Dropping back there, we've got Sveizen in 8th position and Wouters just behind him. I think that's Pike on his wheel. And Guy's been dropped. That does surprise me. I thought Guy would have been able to stay with that group. Guy is one of the riders carrying a decent weight in this race. I think he's carrying around about 22 kilograms. So that's the equivalent of really riding your bike with a full sack of potatoes strapped to your back. If you imagine doing that. So I know there's a lot of riders who will go out with only one water bottle in order to save weight. So you imagine going out on this ride carrying your whole week's shopping with you. That's the sort of thing that Guy's doing at this moment in time, and still managing to hit speeds of 38 kilometers per hour. Back with Tegan there, he's pushing out 6.5 watts per kilogram. So it's worth noting that the watts per kilogram, we are intending to average the riders down to 3.2 watts per kilogram. Obviously that's dependent on riders having done a fairly recent FTP test to get it as accurate as possible. You can get your FTP from within the RGT game, so if you do any good solid racing efforts, RGT will update your FTP for you, and you can go into your settings and you'll find it there waiting for you, your latest FTP. It only updates it upwards, so if you have been off the bike for a while, then it is worth reducing your FTP in RGT and going back for another race again just to get it recalibrated again. Obviously it's not going to reduce your FTP for you, because you could be just going on an easy ride or a recovery ride and it'd be reducing it all the time, so it only measures it in the upward direction. pretty good. It measures it over a 20-minute activity. Anything over 20 minutes, it will measure your FTP, and it takes the best 20-minute section from any activity that you do and bumps your FTP up that way. So we've got Shrek back in 13th position there. He's pushing forward to stay on this group. So yeah, sorry, going back to the leveling, we're all leveled off at 3.2 watts per kilogram. So in an ideal world, you wouldn't see any of the riders really going over 3.2 watts per kilogram, but your FTP is what you do over 20 minutes, not what you do over 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So it is possible to see powers over that 3.2 watts per kilogram. After the race, Will sits down with his calculator and has a look at the course and has a figure out of what was actually possible within reason and what's not been possible. Oh, there's Will. There's Will in that grouping there. Been dropped down into the third group on the road, I think that is 17th position. So yeah, Will work out what's possible, and he will have a look at that and, well, basically disqualify riders. But that being said, the podium in this race is not what we are looking at. We're looking for, in this race, the Combativity Award. So, Combativity Award is voted for by the riders, for the riders, and it is the rider who has done the most insane or craziest thing. They've bridged the biggest gap, they've taken the biggest chance and run off the front and won the race from 10 kilometers out, or they've sat and towed their teammate around for the whole of the race and then let the teammate go at the sprint. So that's what we're looking for in this race, is the Combativity Award. Worth mentioning as well, just while on the subject of Will, Will is the Precision Race Team guy. He runs it, he's fantastic, he's all over RGT on Facebook as well. But also they run a rewards scheme, so if anyone's interested in any nutrients, if you're looking at gels and things like that, if you head over to the Precision Race Team website, they've got a section on there called Precision Rewards, which is free. You don't have to pay to join it. Sign up there, you can get instantly 10% off things like Torque gels. They've got deals with Specialized where they pass on discounts for Specialized bikes, deals with Wahoo. If you're into your swimming, they've got Hue wetsuits on there, all sorts of things. You can get discounts straight away for free. They do a tiered system as well, and if you sign up with them, then you can get additional discounts for a monthly fee. But yeah, the initial one is free and it's well worth having a look at. I use it for myself. I've got addicted to the U-Perform collagen gels. I take them almost daily. I've seen improvements in my skin and hair and nails. It's one of the only supplements I've ever taken that I could genuinely say, wow, that's made a difference. Collagen, I think, is something that we miss in our daily diets now, because a lot of us are eating quite a lot of processed food and very select types of food. We're not eating the roughage and rubbish that we used to eat when we were a bit poorer, when we used to eat all of the animal. Anyway, that's enough about that. Back to the racing. Got Will Usher there, 14th position, Shrek with him, one of his PRT teammates. We're going to drop back through the groups there. We've got Darren Ray in that group as well. Wayne. Seen Lou Gelling, Katie Warren, but I think they're a lap behind. So we drop back. We've got Redpath, Murtagh, the lead group of riders here coming through on some of the back markers. Got Barker there, I think that's Matt Barker. He was having some fantastic races last year. Just coming back into the winter season, onto the turbo season there. Andrew, PRT, 21st position, as I say, coming back from injury. Great position there. David Brookhusen, 22nd. Guy, oh, that's Neil Walker. Ollie Perkins, 24th. Fazalotti. So you're seeing a lot of mixed in riders here with the... You see Deegan there, just putting in a dig to get past those riders. Jones, Lou, Gelling, Breesley, Barry Wilson, Ursula, and a load of bots. Trudy Burley, Edwin, Vanessa. Don't need to mention the bots, do I? And we've got Adams there. Oh, sorry, Ian Hurst there, back in 75th position. Clements in 65th. Got Elliott in 68th position. Then we've got Grant in 70th. Esther Fish, and I'm pretty sure it's Simon the Fish there in 71st. Nickel in 73rd. And Usher in 74th. And jump back to the front. We've only got 3.3 kilometres remaining. So I don't want to miss the end of this race because I think it is going to be lighting up any moment now. Got Ben, Redpath on the front of the group there. Bancroft still in this group. Bancroft is a fantastic rider. He quite often goes with a few kilometres left to go, but that's on generally the hilly races. Has a nice sprint on him too. Have to see how he decides to play this race. Live racing, always interesting. You've got to look at and react to the other riders that are in the group with you. As I was saying before, there is a Discord group, so if you're on the Discord group, you can occasionally get a little bit of a hint of what the riders are doing, what they're going to be, where they're going to be attacking, and you can call on some of your teammates to help. I think we're all individual riders in this race at the front. Chris Bancroft does race these races frequently, but I don't think there's any teammates in this group. As you see, Bancroft just on the front there. Still playing on the power. You can see his yellow power level there. Means he's above his FTP. I think green's FTP. He's eased slightly to let the other riders come through. He's not ready to just take the attack. So we're coming up on another group of back markers here. You see Katie Warren in that group in front. And Redpath puts in the power. Ursula there as well. So as I was saying earlier on, it is important that when you're coming up on these groups of back markers, you don't sit in too much, because you can just get caught out, stuck behind one of these riders, much the same way as you do in real life, and you can just find yourself getting braked and getting dropped out the back. See, I think that's happened to Ben there. Ben all of a sudden has got a 20-metre gap on him, so has Murtar, and so has Palmer. Palmer's out 40. So we've dropped this down just on that little bit of back markers. We've gone down to a group of 3. Ben managed to recover it there. Will we see Palmer coming back? Bancroft, Redpath pushing on here. Ben's seeing the wheel, he's sticking to the wheel of Bancroft there. Palmer 12 metres behind, he's in the red. Every effort that he's putting here without the draft is going to be taking its toll. This is where you need to look. Palmer's back into this group and he's straight through and off the front. Bancroft, Ben, Redpath, Murtor. Now we'll see who's been canniest, who's been able to sit in the draft the most, who's been saving power on this race. My Ben's down for Bancroft here. He seems to be one of the better riders at judging wheels. Ben and Palmer have just put in a big effort there to get back to this group, so I think they'll be running on red for a little while. They'll be trying to recover. As we come up on some more back markers, so Ben taking the attack here. He's just found out about the auto braking in a painful manner. Bancroft, he's dropping back a little bit there. Is he going to ride through and off the front here now? He just rides up to the wheel there of Ben, sits in. See he's saving around about 80 watts there on Ben's wheel as he rolls through to the front. We have 560 meters left to go. Any moment now, those power bars are going to go bright red and they are going to be off. Ben. And there's 3 turns left. Coming up with some back markers now. Ben's at the front. Bancross is with him. Bancross pushing hard. Ben going. Do they think that's the finish line? Have they gone too early? Ben comes around the corner, not too long to go. Redpath powers through. Redpath going for the win. Bancross and Ben. It's Redpath, Bancross, Ben through. First, second, third. Murtaugh comes through in fourth and Palmer behind him. Fantastic riding. Back with Schweisen now. Schweisen in 6th position. He's with McIntyre. McIntyre's on his wheel. Schweisen's going for it. McIntyre's being chased by Shrubsall. Oh, McIntyre just held off Shrubsall there. Pike had a fantastic race early on. He's coming through, cruising through in 9th position. Drop back to Guy Hebner. Guy coming through in 10th here. There's going to be a little bit of a battle behind him now between Wouters, Gunn and... We've got a Brook behind them that's not too far away. It's Shrek and Usher who have got phenomenal amounts of power. I think they're not going to quite manage to get them before the finish line. Wouters, Gunn winding up, Gunn go past Wouters. Will Wouters be able to overturn him again? Wouters giving up there just before the line. Usher comes through, then Deegan. I think that was Shrek came through after him. O'Grady. Load of fast finishers there. Andrew Jones, 21st position. Coming up on this last hairpin. He's well clear of David Brookhuizen, who's Brookhuizen and Walker battling it out. Alright, missed. Barker coming through on the line there, unfortunately, sorry. Walker and Brookhuizen battling out. Brookhuizen in the orange top here. Walker in the OTR colours. They're coming through now. Let's see who is going to set it alight first. Walker goes first. Brookhuizen coming through. Oh, Walker takes the win. Brookhuizen in 23rd. Got Ollie Perkins now coming through in 24th with Vasalotti just behind him. And we've got Greasley in this group as well. Ollie Perkins opens up early. Vasalotti's slipping into his draft now. Vasalotti is not going to quite overhaul him by the line. Drop back Greasley, Killingbeck. Well timed run by Killingbeck there. Lou PRT coming in on 29th. Barry Wilson just being overtaken by Katie and Ursula there. Barry comes through in a very solid 35th position. Some bots coming through there. And we've got some back markers. Some riders there on the still a lap to go. So there are generally bots added in on any of the PRT races. When we've got 100 plus riders, then the bots tend to disappear. But when there's numbers of less than 100, there's some bots included in order to help some of the riders who end up at the back end of the field, might lose a wheel and just get knocked back. As we see Adams coming through here, he's pushing in 10.2 watts per kilogram. big sprint for the line, 59th position. He's putting everything on the line. He's eased up as he come around that hairpin. Confident in the 59th position there. He's managed to drop Kendrick. And we've got Simon the Fish coming through. And it's nice to see that biker Win LeBlanc's watching on Facebook. Simon the Fish comes through in 62nd. Is he going to hold off these bots? Pushing out 202 watts now. Yeah, he held off those bots well there. Ray's, Jesse and Lance there. We've got Nicole and Elliot. Let's see who's going to open up the sprint here. Elliot's pushing. Nicole, looks like they've just got a little bit more left in the tank. Coming close to the line now. He's going to put in the final sprint. Elliot's holding the wheel. Not quite got enough to come around him. Villarreal and Grant coming through in 71st and 72nd position. And then we've got Clements coming through 73rd. And we've got Bev Usher, who's actually Will Usher's father. They're able to compete together online. Bev living in South Africa and Will living in the UK. Bev takes part in virtually all the PRT events, and you'll probably see him in the Saturday and Sunday Lose rides as well. Really enjoying his virtual cycling. Ian Hurst comes through in 75th position. And then we've got Robin Druitt coming through in 76th. Robin Druitt, along with Bev, is one of our older competitors. Often takes part in time trials. And that is it for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Been a fantastic race. That's one of the things about the PRT handicapped races, because they are handicapped, that everyone finishes within a fairly reasonable amount of time of each other. So that was great. We've got a few comments coming through now. David Brookhausen is saying it's horrible. We're back to a classic Magic Road next week with Surrey Hills, so expect even more cursing and swearing going on in the background. Woots is saying it felt like a time trial that never ended. Darren Ray, who made a mistake and went a lap too early. So everybody, if you want to get in touch on Facebook, get involved in the vote for combativity, drop Will Usher an @ and shout up who you think was the most combative rider today. I think my vote's going for Steve Shrubsall, because he did sort of push really hard to try and get with the groups there, but he was way out. And final note from me is, if you've enjoyed the stream, please take the time to like and subscribe. If you're watching on the Facebook channel, if you can follow us, the VCN, V-Cycling News channel. It's well worth jumping on the V-Cycling News channel and checking out the other videos that we've done. We also promote a lot of the events that go around on RGT. We are independent, so we do things for some of the other platforms as well. But yeah, you'll find something of interest there. And thanks for watching, and we'll catch with you next time. Have a good evening.